Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning. Oh, I thought I had more time here. I was messing with my shirt sleeve. Oh wait, and I don't have the music ready, guys. I should be so embarrassed. Wow. It's installing Spotify. What? Sometimes Spotify. I want to be like Darth Vader, like, you have failed me for the last time, Spotify. But I don't really actually have any good alternative. Okay. So, not a whole lot happened over the weekend. And I'm concerned that we could get another one of these kind of like, nothing happens this week, but markets are super volatile because they're still on edge from the Iran situation. But we shall see. We do have Chairman Powell speaking today at Harvard, which is going to be watched very widely. That is not until 8:30, though. So I'm anticipating that it'll be a relatively quiet session for us. Let's come over, look at the charts, see if there's any big moves that have happened I missed. ZN here, you can see, oh, actually, we're up pretty good. Okay, so something I should note. Now, this is not right. Let's try something here. That's not right. There we go. Okay. So, going into Friday, in the close, there was a divergence. The treasuries were up, even though the S&P 500 continued to sell off. So it seems that the treasuries have maybe decided that this has gone far enough that there's going to be real economic damage, and the treasuries are starting to price in a recession, is what I think is going on here. So this is a pretty major change in the markets that we need to pay attention to. And the treasuries are on the move up at the moment as well. Okay, we looked at the S&P 500, kind of an ugly little extra move there. In fact, we kind of have to come over here to the daily to really get a picture of where that looks like. Well, we're getting down towards the bottom of the Liberation Day volatility. So, oh no, wait, that's ZN. There we go. Yes, we're well below. We're not anywhere close to Liberation Day yet. Not in the S&P 500. Okay. Oil edging up. Gold, silver, nothing much to speak of. Copper, sideways. Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin was taking a little bit of a dive, but it looks like they're trying to pull something out at the moment. Okay, so oh, I guess I can check TweetDeck, but I bet you that I don't have TweetDeck. Nope. As of March 26th, blah, 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 blah. I give you a week and then I'm canceling. Elon. Putting you on notice. By the way, good morning, Kevin, Ray, Paul Vital, who was already taking a loss today. Perhaps because the S&P 500 moving up. Do wonder, did we get, well, when would that have been? About an hour ago. Yes, that was when Donald Trump tweeted. The United States of America is in serious discussions with a new and more reasonable regime to end our military operations in Iran. Great progress has been made, but if for any reason a deal is not shortly reached, which it probably will be, and if the Hormuz Strait is not immediately open for business, we will conclude our lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all of their electric generating plants, oil wells, and Karg Island, and possibly all desalinization plants, which we have purposefully not yet touched. This will be in retribution for our many soldiers and others, but Iran has butchered and killed over the regime's 47-year reign of terror. Thank you for this attention in this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Okay, you can't attack desalinization plants. I'm sorry. That's not allowed, right? There's like rules against that. Well, okay. Okay, Donnie. But that's what got the market up. Okay. That's better. What do you think of the color of this new shirt, by the way? I don't know if I dig it or not. It's a little dark for me. But, you know, my face has gotten darker, so. Okay, so I had a pretty productive weekend. Can I show you what I did? Yeah, I can. Hold on. I can't because it's in a separate. I need to change the name. But I've been working on my trading application. We got our log down here at the bottom. We got example footprint, or not footprint charts. Example candlestick charts. Glacier is too casual. That's kind of the look I'm going for. Figure. Okay. We can successfully connect to Rhythmic. Let's see the messages come out in the log. We can run our Python scripts. Very good. One of them errors out on purpose. So I got a working GUI, and it's running on iced. I got to change the name. I came across somebody who's doing a similar-ish thing. They're making theirs open source, which I don't know, an open source trading application, if I would ever trust an open source trading application. But I still think it's a cool project. I might even contribute. But he stole the name. I'm like, should I be suspicious? Because I thought, okay, nobody's gonna use that name. Like, that's a weird word. Comes from Greek. But nobody's got it, and especially not a trading application. And then here I find somebody, they're using Rust, they use the exact same name. So I have to change the name of it. But I completely wrote it all myself. Claude helped. Claude helped a little, just a little. Actually, no. Claude did a bunch of things that, like, I don't think I would have been able to have figured out on my own. So, Claude 4.6 is not too bad with Rust. Used to be that I just could not, any code that I got from the LLMs for Rust was just absolutely terrible. But I was able to get things, because remember, I kind of had a version of everything to this point already, but I had to go to a different GUI framework that I didn't like as much. And I kind of saw, oh, actually, Ista's new version fixes the problems that I had. And it showed me that Rhythmic, you can get access to their API for development purposes. So it did that. It works on a WebSocket. That's all working. So now I get to come to the hard part, which is building the data infrastructure inside of the application. So plan is today to focus on that. So I'm making this document with Claude here. That's what this is about. So I had some questions. Oh, I thought that it put the questions in here, but no, I put them in here. Was it interesting? I didn't know, by the way, Vital was saying the gray shirt is too casual. It's a blue shirt. That's blue. It's okay, I'm colorblind too. It's like a blue-gray. It's Air Force blue. It's green. No, it's... You're just messing with me. It's blue. I got a what is the color called? I don't know. It's a form of purple. Like a light, very faded purple. That's one I can't see. Okay. Coalescing granularity. Option C is correct. It should be per symbol and message type. However, we also need to consider market by order data. If we are using MBO data, then we have to process everything in order. Okay. Indicator and lifestyle. Does the pipeline own the indicator state, or does the indicator own it? Is YouTube reporting how many viewers you have accurately right now on your side? I don't see why it wouldn't be. It says that we have 10 current viewers. Maybe that's a little bit low, but on yours it says 1, really? Well, and unless everybody here in chat is actually all just Uzi masquerading as a bunch of different people using Claude, I think that there's more than one person viewing. I also only see one, and it fluctuates to 0 literally while 3 of us have been in here chat. That is so weird. No, it does not show me that. In fact, over here, you can see like a little graph of the current viewers. And it's been at 10 the whole time. Meow and Brov waves. Yeah. Thank you for watching. That's kind of weird, huh? Even if I did that, the view count would be equivalent to how many clones I was using. No, I think that they've done some things to get rid of certain types of clone so that those all show as the same person. But I don't know how far effective that's been. Okay, so Claude did an okay job on our document here. But I got a couple of little suggestions for him. See where he takes it. See, YouTube's probably playing some stupid games. Yeah, that's another thing, is that all of these platforms will kind of fuzz the view counts on them so that robots can't tell if they're shadow banned, essentially. So it used to be, okay, if I post a comment, the number of comments on the thread should increase by 1. But if the platform itself always kind of says, show them the number of views or comments or views, I guess you probably have to do views because I don't know if it would make as much sense for comments, but you say always take the number of views plus or minus a random number, then the robot can't tell if it's actually being seen. So platforms, particularly YouTube, do a lot of that sort of stuff. Several of those answers change the design meaningfully. Let me think through the implications before rewriting. Market by order data is a fundamentally different class from best bid offer. It's a stateful difference. String coalescing is the wrong there. The book is the accumulated state of all events applied in order. This means MBO needs its own ordered path with a book state machine sitting in front of the coalescing stage. Chart/strategy as a subscriber unit, not an individual indicator, is cleaner. Pipeline has no knowledge of indicators at all. Charts register for topics. Indicators are internal to the chart. There you go. Python on bar close, on price change, on every event registration means Python indicators are effectively implementing a dispatch interface, which maps well to Pyo3 calling specific method names by convention. There you go. So basically, the chart is going to get an indicator, and then the indicator is going to say, I am an indicator that updates on the bar close, or maybe on every price change, or maybe on every market data event. And then based on that, I'm just going to say yes to this edit. And then based on that, the chart will call those methods when those events happen. So the chart is the thing that has to read a channel or whatever, get the data events and call the Python. Okay. Key changes and additions from this revision. MBO integration. MBO events go through tier 2 ordered MPSC into a per symbol book state machine that sits between the raw feed and any consumers. The state machine's output, derived book snapshot, then feeds into the tick bus as a coalesced value. This gives consumers a clean interface to book state without needing to understand the market by order difference protocol. I don't think I understood what it said there. Subscription model inverted. The charts are the pipeline subscribers, not indicators. The pipeline hands a subscription handle to a chart. The chart dispatches its own vector box dynamic indicator. Wow. Okay. The pipeline is completely decoupled from indicator existence. So I believe I can't remember what is special about a vector in Rust. I think that gives it different ownership kind of stuff. Like this means that there's a box in there and that it can share ownership. I think is what that means. Python delivery. The indicator itself declares its delivery frequency by which methods it implements. On bar close, on price change, on market data. The bridge checks at registration time with Hasatter and only calls methods that exist. No method equals no GIL acquisition for that event class. Rust section covers the full channel selection table. Y watch for ticks, dash map for registry, MPSC for ordered and critical paths, the ownership hierarchy, lifetime constraints, and the supervision problem for long-running plant tasks. Some of this I think is like AI slop, like I don't know if it matters or not. One thing worth flagging, book state machine in tier 2 is doing real work constructing the level 3 book from diffs. Whether we actually implement MBO initially or start with BBO only is worth deciding before any code is written around that path, since it's significantly affected. Now we start. Also, while I'm thinking about it, should come in here and load the correct data levels. Going to remove all of the MBO stuff, huh? Well, I don't know if you needed to go that far, Claude, but I'll let you do what you want to do, just because I'm curious to see what you're going to do. Was Trump stopping was good for gold? Well, it looks like it's been, well, first of all, saying it's Trump stopping is, I think, like a vast missed statement of what happened. But Trump tweeting positively about potential peace efforts has resulted in positive flows pretty much everywhere, but most especially in the S&P 500. Because the place the market seems to be most concerned about is indeed equities. Architecture. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna call it that for now. Let's come back over here. Odd exit. Opus. Efforts. Max. Okay. So now we burn all of the rest of our tokens for the day on it, modifying this one markdown document and see what happens. Maximum effort. Ooh. Something about that makes me excited. 48,000 tokens? What? I don't know how many it gives me, but that is, wow. Okay. Was the extended open really at 23? That can't be right. No, that must be open from like previous days. Because the real open was somewhere down here. Oh, this is the regular open. Okay, yeah. So, I moved to 27.5. Okay, I'll buy it. Considering how bullish the market sounds based off of this news. But I still think that what's going on here is we've got different people. And the people going in saying we're not negotiating with him and all this sort of stuff. The IRGC is different from who he is negotiating with. Which means potential civil war, but my God, it came in and it said, well, oh, it added some explanations. Oh, okay. It caught that the project was named. We're renaming the project. I didn't give it explicit instructions to modify the document based on what I found. So, yeah, we two-shot it. I think it's okay. So 24 was the peak from the high when Donald Trump tweeted. That might be why they're kind of shying away from it a little bit. And there does appear to be some offer icebergs at 24. But I'm kind of hoping a bust through here should push up. Not enough for me to want to take a trade on it. I guess the issue I got here, number one, I'm reading this stuff with Claude, and I want to be able to focus on that. So I don't want to take a trade because of that. But then B, more important for you guys, is that we got Powell speaking today. So I'm a little bit like, I mean, that doesn't mean that we can't make it to the 27.5, 28, but okay, so there's a good uptick. Wow. They already traded. Oh, okay. No. 24 was where it was before. So they haven't traded a new high yet. Nor have they put a very good bid there, 24 yet. Okay, that's better. 2000's okay. And we have had one order go into it. Okay, and then that pulled. So now I'm interested to see when we get the next uptick. Oh, no, they're going to change already. So there was 5K there at 25.5. And the orders there are kind of stacking and pulling. That's interesting. That kind of has me thinking that they are going to continue. But it's probably, I don't think that we're going to get like a stop run sort of a thing. A lot of the time when you push through a level like that, you get like a stop run. I'm not sure if we're going to get that. I think that there's going to be a lot of liquidity at 24.5, 25, 25.5, 26. So let's see how good I am at predicting what the liquidity is going to be. So anyways, I want to go back to this. So the headline that I was reading this morning, Iran again rejects excessive demands. Iran has once again stated that it has rejected the latest U.S. demands as excessive and illogical, according to state Tasnim, also confirming that it did not participate in the weekend Pakistan-hosted summit attended by the foreign ministers of Turkey, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt. We have never had any direct negotiations with the United States, but has been raised are messages received through intermediaries indicating the U.S. desires to negotiate. Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Bagheli said in a press conference Monday. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar is expected in China on Tuesday for talks with its Chinese counterpart, after Beijing made it clear it is ready to back a Pakistan-mediated peace effort. Right? But then Trump is like, oh, we've basically got a deal. So, on one hand, could we be suspicious, or should we be suspicious of Trump saying that we think we got a deal? But then I think that they are genuinely negotiating. It's just that not everybody in Iran is in agreement with who's in charge and if they're actually making a deal. Which I think means civil war, but we'll see. Okay, so now they're trading 25. This will kind of be like big test, right? Because if it just slips through there, if everything pulls and they put a big bid there and like less than 2,000 is traded, then the gig is up and we know that we're probably going to slip up further.
Block buy.
Okay, So there is an iceberg there. They hit 5K. That doesn't mean that they won't clear it, but it does kind of confirm my suspicions that there's likely to be a decent amount of liquidity through these next 3 ticks. Kazuki says, yo, bro. Yo. How's it going? So now we get to play the fun game of how many contracts does it take to clear 25? Because they're going to try. NQ and ES being slow as the previous week? Really? I mean, ES has been moving pretty good. Wait. You're telling me that, let's see here, from 57. Okay, it's about 20 handles. 20 handles isn't amazing, but it's pretty good. 10 handles is about, like, that's a big chunky winner. Like, if you're an E-mini trader and you can catch 10 handles, that's pretty good. Especially if you've got something going like, you know, you have a target and a stop and whatnot. Like, your stop is likely to be much closer than that. So you got some trade that you were able to get it to run and never hit your stop, and you pick up 20 handles from it. Pretty good winner. Although, like, a big winner would be like 100 handles. I've made 100 handles before. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. That was the E-mini open. We're down a tick. They traded 8,000 at 25. But we have now ticked down at 24.5. So, often when you're getting a really good bull run, which I would say that we have, that kind of down tick like that can be the kind of signal that it's over. It's not like a strong enough signal that I would take it as a short. But it is one that if you were already kind of nervous about that iceberg at 25, that I would maybe get out. Now, if, for instance, this had been at 28, and that's where we have our volatility projected range, like if I had seen that up there at 28, then I'd definitely be taking off. But as it stands right now, okay, well, that was a pretty strong uptick right there. I think there's a little bit of a pause, but they may continue. They traded 10K now at 25, which is not bad. I think so. I'm not going to take a trade, but I think I'm still betting though that they will reach 28 in today's session. That's my prediction. It might not be before I leave, but I think that today we will touch 28. Unless Donnie comes out and tweets something, or Iranian news agency says, something like that. Yeah, it doesn't count if it's a live trade. Well, you still want to track it. See, here's the thing. If you're there to be seen by other people, then I guess, yeah, you have to put it into trading results and do all of this stuff, put it out there. Honestly, wouldn't recommend doing that. There's some issues with doing that, but if we want to become better traders, sometimes you want to come in and see how good you are at predicting something without taking a trade, because maybe there are other compounding factors that make it not a good time for you to take trades. Or maybe it's something that you can't explicitly trade. Like, I can't explicitly make a trade off of, like, it's going to take more than 10,000 contracts to clear 25, for instance, right? There's not really a very good way for me to place a trade on that, right? But we still want to practice predicting it, saying, I think that it's going to take a certain amount here. It's not going to take very much here. That's what you want trying to predict. Okay? So in this instance, I don't want to take a position because Powell is speaking much later today and I'm not going to be around for it. But if I could take one and hold it all day, then all the way to 28, sure. I think it'd be worth holding for. The question though is, then at that point, if you were to take a trade, and we took it at 24.5 right now, which I wouldn't mind getting 24.5, how much adverse excursion might you actually get before it gets there? That's the question. Because you could get some. I could see a pullback to, say, the opening range area here, like between 22 and 22.5. Extended session plus 2 sigma. And Uzi's right. As soon as you start to sink all your hopes and dreams into something happening, it kind of almost feels like that it changes the result. Which I don't think that it does, but you taking a trade changes the results, or has an influence on the results. It does. Okay, so I'm not liking that the S&P 500 is selling off on the open. So what do we think this means? Well, we're going to factor in a bunch of different things. Well, we got today and tomorrow. For end of month flows. So I'm not going to say that the flows are super bad, but the issue that we got for end of month flows is that everything was down. So I don't know what that means. I think that well, let's say everything was down, but they still got good distributions, because we're not in a recession, everybody's still getting paid, right? Then I think that would mean that you would buy equities, or that you would buy a little bit of everything, but that it would be a milder flow, right? Some Mondays, so it tends to be lower. We've got some news and stuff later today, so it tends to be lower. So to see that much selling right here at the beginning, I think, and based on the other flows that we know about, I think there's a pretty good chance that this is skepticism over the supposed deal with Iran that Donald Trump is tweeting about. But let's give them some time. It's only been 5 minutes, because it's really common to have a big kind of swing one way and then all the way back in the S&P 500. Off of the open, rather. Oh man, So I'm reading a thread on Reddit here. What is the source of the cruelty of right-wingers? Right-wingers tend to be extremely cruel people. For example, they think it's cool that ICE would separate a child from their parent. Or just today, some MAGA Chad told me he supported locking up homeless people. A right-wing Fox News host suggested murdering homeless people via lethal injections. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that whole thing. I don't know what that guy was thinking. Why would you say something like that? Okay, anyways. Where does this cruelty derive from? Is it perhaps that a disproportionate percentage of right-wingers are sociopaths, and as sociopaths they gravitate to right-wing politics? Or is it that the cruelty derives from an inner fear and insecurity? I'd be curious about the psychological theories for this. So normally, it being all the questions, I would be like, this isn't worth touching. But this person seems to be genuinely curious, so I think that we can give him an answer. I think that right-wingers generally believe that systems and incentives influence behavior. And there is lots of behavior going on that is bad for the country as a whole, that right-wingers are very unhappy and concerned about. For instance, right-wingers are very concerned that the culture that has made the United States a successful country and a nice place to live will be destroyed by enough immigrants coming in that they will outvote everybody else and change things so that the United States becomes socialist, or the United States becomes Muslim, or something like that, right? And so if you're going to turn that around, then you have to have policies that attach punishments or disincentives to those behaviors so that they don't happen anymore. So they get happy when people suffer the consequences of, being in the United States illegally, for instance, because in their view, the law isn't being upheld. And it's not that they're psychopaths as much as it is that they're tired of the law being ignored and seeing everything go one way. Let me tell you something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. You have to realize the left. What drives the left? And really, to me, the thing that defines the left now is their desire for income redistribution. That's really what the difference between like a moderate Democrat or a mainstream Democrat and the quote unquote radical left. The radical left wants to dramatically redistribute wealth. And that's basically like everything else that they think stems from that. All this stuff about like transgender people and historically disadvantaged groups, intersectionality, all of that stems from their desire to redistribute wealth. Those are the people that they believe have been poor. Although, interestingly enough, a lot of transgender people are not poor. I digress. That's what they want. If you're a conservative, don't fool yourself. The left wants income redistribution. And here's the thing. They want it so bad, they will basically do anything that they can to get it, including committing fraud, breaking laws, etc., etc., etc. So what has happened in the United States is these guys, they want wealth redistribution, and the politics, the majority of the vote do not want income redistribution, at least to that degree, right? Like most people support a progressive tax system. But then when we get into things like nobody should be allowed to have more than X amount of money or things like this, most Americans realize, no, that's not good. Mostly, I think, for me, I'm opposed to it because those things aren't effective. Wealth redistribution almost never works because it destroys the things that are making the wealth. since they can't get it through legislation, they do it through things like ignoring the law, kind of taking every tiny little thing that they can to try and shift things around, right? If we have a city and we're in charge of the city, then we can charge reparations, for instance. That's a way of redistributing wealth. We take it from the white people, we give it to the historically disadvantaged black people that don't have as much money. That's wealth redistribution. That's what drives it, right? And let me tell you something. If you live in a place where the wealth redistributors become the majority, move. I don't care how long you've been there, how attached you are, the great job that you have, whatever the thing is. The sooner you can move from that place, the better it is for you. Straight up. Because when you look at the system, and this is a complex system with rules and things like that, but the way that it plays out is pretty consistent and easy to understand. The people with the wealth eventually get tired of it and leave, and the economy in that place is left in shambles. And meanwhile, the people that want the wealth redistribution do everything that they can to bring in more and more people that they think are poor or historically disadvantaged to try and redistribute wealth to. So once that starts happening, once there's kind of that tipping point where they're the majority, that place is doomed. You're not going to stop it. And the thing is there will always be a place somewhere in the world where people are being successful and things are happening. Not from wealth redistribution, but people just having good ideas and working together and cooperating in an economy, right? Move there. Go to that place. Because, like you can see it in California, for instance, right? If they tax the billionaires, some of them are already leaving. It's not going to be everybody. Like, it's a slow process. Probably takes decades, right? But what's going to happen is like 20, 30 years from now, when California is just an absolutely terrible place to live, there's going to be all these people stuck there that are going to be like, back when it was, in the early 2020s, I could have chosen to have moved. And now I don't really have the resources to move. And I really wish that I had gotten out 30 years ago. I could have been in a better place. I would have been so much more successful if I'd moved. Just do it now. Seriously. That's the way it goes. Because at the end of the day, what they really want is wealth redistribution. Don't kid yourselves. Almost everything else that they talk about, that whole ideology, all stems from wealth redistribution. And by the way, if you're a left-winger, I don't think that we have very many of them here, but if you're a left-winger and you don't think that's what it is, you're in denial. You're in denial about what your party's really about. Vital, they make 1 million NGOs and giving them money from taxes. New York Stock Exchange leaving New York City to Texas. That didn't completely happen yet, right? I remember them talking about it. They do have an exchange in Texas. They have NYSE Texas now, scheduled to start operating in 2025. And then there's the Texas Stock Exchange. But you're right. If New York started to do things like, we want a financial transaction tax to tax Wall Street will move. It's happened before. Happened many, many times. It's cheaper to move than it is to pay a tax like that. So one of the left-wingers over again, no, that's not what happened in Massachusetts. Don't worry, it will. Because they're gonna, They increase taxes on them and all this and that, right? And the wealthy people in Texas, they're all kind of left-wingers. So they'll be like, okay, I can pay a little bit more. That's fine. I'm okay with that, right? Then they're going to do it again. Then they're going to do it again, right? Until the wealth is destroyed, right? If you're a rich person, you understand. They want to destroy your wealth. They want to take your wealth. And you might say, well, I already have a ton and I can give up this little bit of it, right? They're going to take that and then they're going to see you still have more than them and they're going to want more. And you compound that over 10, 20, 30 years, you're going to wish you moved. Illinois' property taxes have beyond doubled since 2024, with like 3 hikes last year alone, and then they double. Then they proudly declare that they are using those funds to fund shelters for illegals. Ugh. It is really quite, I mean, as a taxpayer, right? I do kind of wonder, like, what does this do to the social contract? You know what I mean? Because we all say, oh, okay, yeah, you need taxes because you need to do things like you build roads and yada, yada, yada. But if you use those taxes instead to fund, to pay for shelter for people that aren't even supposed to be here, right? Like, that's breaking the social contract. Why should I even pay taxes? If the taxes are being taxes, instead of being used to provide useful services for the society that we all need to have, and instead it's just being used for redistribution, it breaks the social contract. People are going to not want to pay taxes anymore. They will introduce a leave tax. Well, California's initiative has a leave tax involved in it, doesn't it? I don't know if that's constitutional. But let's say that it was found to be constitutional. I would still leave. Because ultimately, they want the redistribution. So what can you do? Leave now. Give them the redistribution now. Go and rebuild somewhere else. You'll still be better off. Even if you have to give up everything, I would still move. Serious. I legit pity ordinary people who live in blue cities. Ain't no one governed by perfection or anything, but blue cities are governed by abject incompetence. Well, so here's the thing that, like, when it comes to blue cities in particular, like, why have blue cities become so blue? It seems to me that it's because of millennials, isn't it? Millennials were massively affected by leftist propaganda in their formative years, and then they all still chased success and everything, and that meant moving to the city. So you've got this mass of overeducated liberal millennials living in the city. That's why it's so liberal, right? And the issue was that millennials got inundated by all of this kind of leftist propaganda, but they never really learned how the system actually works. It's really shocking to me. Many people my own age, what they don't understand about the economy, economics, the way that governments tend to work, history, things like that. Like the number of people out there that think, oh, you just need to put rent controls out there and that fixes the problem. Like, this is probably one of the most objectively, like, economically backed bad ideas. Like, I'm not using the right phrasing there. It's a bad idea, and so much economic research and history shows that things like price controls are negative. They don't work. They make situations worse. And yet you got all these millennials want to do it. But mostly millennials in their movie brain / Disney morality. And I don't think that it's Disney morality though. I really think that they have been poisoned by propaganda on the internet. Because I know that when I was, well, not when I, like, so I've been one of those people that have always been on the internet, right? And I have always despised this left-wing tilt to it. So when the rest of everybody else came onto the internet, what did they see? They saw people pushing socialism, essentially. Absolutely played a part, like actual research done on it, and those parts get ignored and forgotten often. And it's really like, especially like New York and Chicago. But I'm hoping that they don't completely. There is a point at which you become socialist enough that there's no way to turn it around. Like it becomes too entrenched. But I'm not convinced that New York and Chicago have gotten there. I'm really hoping that with New York, that all of the people that voted in Mamdani are realizing that this guy doesn't know what he's doing, and they go a different direction next election. So I don't think that people really wanted him in the first place. It was kind of more of a lack of better options. So, wow, the treasury's just whoosh, right up there. Did I miss something? Too bad we don't have Twitter. Twitter would have been a great place to be looking. Well, I guess I have Twitter, but not TweetDeck. Hey, Paul, constant intake of media. Internet is part of constant intake of media, and in cities, literally, what do you have to do but often constantly intake media? Yeah. Nothing significant across the wire from what you see? Well, the S&P 500 continues to fall and maybe turned through a critical point, so that may be part of why the treasuries are kind of getting... I don't know, though. It did kind of... Well, I didn't notice it when it happened. They sure came up fast, though, didn't they? Oh, it was the low from that, by the way. 22.5. Oh, my God. They went exactly to where I said it was going to be. Well, didn't they? Okay, when I said, like, maybe they'll get to this line that coincides with the opening range and bounced, I was just kind of... That was like... Okay, if there's a pullback, like, this is the only kind of line that I have. I didn't really think that it was going to bounce off of that exactly. So that one was just luck, I think. I'm super bothered by TweetDeck going behind a paywall, and it kind of makes me feel like I don't want to use Twitter anymore. But like, there's not really there is no alternative. What am I gonna do? I guess we just let microblogging social media services die. Try PyIQ Street Suite. Oh, yeah, but isn't that kind of the same thing? You say it's a TweetDeck knockoff? No, I don't know about that. Okay, wait. It wants me to log in. Ooh, while I'm thinking about it. Because we made this lovely document. Okay. Cool. Now I can read it on my GitHub site. So when I go to work and if I'm have some downtime, I can read that. Okay. Anyways, back to PyIQ. Sweet, sweet. Sorry, when I said isn't that like kind of the same thing, I kind of meant isn't that kind of the same thing to financial juice? It looks like it is. Like you get feeds. Doesn't give me X. Or like the ability to add any, like for me to follow my X list in particular. I wonder if I come in here to where do I find my lists? Articles, profile, more lists. There we go. My list, Newswire. And if I go here, oh, it does show it by most recent. Ambry reports Liberia flagged container vessel reports projectiles impacting water near it northeast of Saudi Arabia's DAMMAM. No reported damage or injuries. Vessel near Saudi coast assaulted as U.S. affiliated through ownership. Okay. So that suggests to me Houthis attacking them, right? Where is Damam? That's by Bahrain. Okay. So not Houthis. But possible concern could have been a headline that spiked them up. I just make lists on Twitter and pin it to the top of the feed. How do you do that exactly? I can report list. I can follow this news. Oh wait. This is my list. Why is it? I'm not following my own lists? Okay. That's weird. But how do you pin it to the top of your feed? I think it was in settings. Hang on. Oh, okay. I'm wondering. So let's go to settings. Your account, monetization, premium, creator subscription, security, privacy, notifications, accessibility, display, languages, data usage. Okay, go to settings. No, I don't see settings list. What? Okay, you're talking about over here. You click the 3 dots and you click lists. You're talking about here. And there's a pin next to your lists. Oh. These are not mine. These are. I see. So then if I come over to here, you're saying that they should get pinned to the top somehow? Is it already time to go? Because, like, I'm coming here to the top and it's like, well, why are the first things that I see, Elon? Right? I want... Squawks. Oh, look at that. Ah. Okay. Trump's job owning isn't working like it used to, says investing line. It's totally... S&P 500 not happy this morning. No, I didn't realize that. That's cool. I suppose we could work with that. We definitely don't need the Twitter subscription for that, though, do we? I think we're canceling the Twitter subscription. And tomorrow we need to check the little email service thing they were doing, because it should go like go back to the free tier, and then we'll see if it will let me do those features or if they've changed it. Because pretty much everybody that provides email subscription lists as like charges ridiculous amounts for it. So I'm kind of like, it doesn't cost you. Like I could just manage it all myself and use SendMail, because I never send anything. So you know, but then when I actually want to, then I could use SendMail. Anyways, guys, I should get going. Fun times. I will tell you how it went with Claude. I should have a lot of time to work on it this week, so I'm really hoping that by the end of the week that I have like a working live chart. But we'll see. All right, guys. Yep, good stream. I will see you tomorrow. Stay excellent, team.